Oh my gosh, you guys, I just got out of The Incredibles 2 and woo, was it worth the wait. And hey, it's implied that I got at least a few theories right before. Previously, I mentioned that supers had to be the equivalent of like government employees, and so the government was paying them to not do hero work any longer because they weren't really good for anything else. Yeah, Bob has an insurance job, which is kinda kismet, considering how much grief his glory days must have caused other insurance agents. But with the quality of living the Parr family enjoyed, it seems pretty obvious that they were being subsidized by Uncle Sam too, which is why they had no money to get a new home when the superhero relocation program ended. Also, when Edna brings up her babysitting fee, it was confirmed-ish that she was previously paid by the government to make the superhero suits. Because if you notice, when she mentions getting paid, Bob has no clue how to settle up his debt. Almost like he's never given Edna any money before. And because I'm sure someone will bring this up, yes, I agree that the sequel is highly themed with the 60s feel, but I disagree that the movie is set in the 60s. Even if you ignore the superhero technology, which is way too far advanced for that era, Bob is frequently shown using a cordless phone around their new house, which wasn't patented until 1977. Also, Elastigirl reads a newspaper that is dated October 25th with no year that I could find during the few seconds it was on screen. So, like I said before, this newspaper dated for 1962 in the original film was a plant by syndrome so that Mr. Incredible would be stirred into coming out of the proverbial closet, and this 60s motif that we see everywhere is just something that came back into style in this hero-filled world. But, gloating aside, I am a little unsettled by a few details in The Incredibles 2. I mean, when you spend 14 years in a story, it should all be pretty airtight, right? Well, the first issue I noticed is that they didn't Scooby-Doo us. I mean, usually we have someone we're told is filling one role, like Ernesto de la Cruz being Miguel's ancestor, and then it turns out in some dramatic reveal that the belief is totally wrong, and surprise! It was this other guy we weren't supposed to be expecting. We see the same thing in Toy Story 2 when Jesse is thought to be sabotaging Woody, but really it was the prospector coming out of his box. Well, in The Incredibles 2, Elastigirl was hired by a rich tech company to promote superhero positivity. Then we're immediately given a tech-based supervillain? Okay, well, we're shown Winston and Evelyn Dever, who seem to fit the bill for a villain, and Evelyn even looks like a baddie with disheveled hair and those sort of dark rings around her eyes. And lo and behold, look who the primary bad guy is! Evelyn! Oh, I can't believe it. I'm so shocked. Even Elastigirl didn't really buy that the guy she caught was the actual Screenslaver, so how could we as the audience? There was no surprise twist, and that kind of bugged me. But not as much as the little girl holding up a sign in the crowd. Here we are, watching Elastigirl pull up to this, like, support rally in her honor, and some random kid placed right in front is holding a sign saying, "Screenslaver is still out there." I may be paraphrasing here since I can't really take screenshots at the theater, and handwriting notes in the dark has its own set of challenges. But we see this child that Elastigirl is excited to see and see supporting her, and then we see that that really jars Elastigirl to read the sign, so that has some meaning and merit to it, I think. I mean, how much sense does it make to have a "We Love Elastigirl" party, and in the front of it you have a kid with a sign that basically says, "You suck at your job"? What? Why would you do that? Who would give their kid a sign like that? Because no, kids that young are not activists unless their parents make them be, so no way this kid decided to make that sign alone. Plus, the little girl didn't seem to be holding any grudge or anxiety about what she allegedly wrote, so what's the deal here? It's like someone else just walked up and handed her that sign. And that got me thinking, did we get super Scooby-Doo to the point that the film didn't even unmask all the villains? And would Winston Dever have given that girl the sign to keep Elastigirl motivated? Let's revisit Winston Dever for a minute. His working relationship with his sister is described as Evelyn designing the tech and Winston figuring out how to market it. But Winston isn't an idiot. He actually comes off as a very intelligent man with good senses. And even though Evelyn claims her brother would do major harm to the world if he got a hold of the hypnosis technology, technology. How would it even be possible that Evelyn could develop a product that in-depth, surely spending billions in research and development, plus renting fake hideouts and such, and Winston had no clue that the tech existed? I mean, even Bruce Wayne couldn't stop his employees from putting dots like that together. Someone in accounting had surely brought this to his attention before. So, isn't it a more reasonable scenario that Winston is smart enough to realize that some inventions do not belong in just anyone's hands? And while waiting for superheroes to resurface so that he could try to get them legalized again, wouldn't a clever guy like Winston be aware that a superhero needs a baddie, or else it's all kissing babies and community service? I mean, it took like 15 years for the Underminer to appear in the world, so they don't exactly have these bad guys popping out left and right. So I would imagine that Winston held back a few advanced, weaponizable tech projects so that he could design elaborate supervillains that the world needed to be rescued from. It was even his idea to have Elastigirl wait in the city, and bam, this new supervillain just pops out of nowhere? Come on, that was planned by more than just Evelyn. Techslaver isn't like the Underminer. He can be anywhere at any time and hit mass amounts of people and cause unforeseeable damages with his abilities. That seems like something that would frighten the entire world into wanting protection, don't you think? But who could ever defeat such a person? Well, how about your friendly neighborhood superheroes? That's right. My guess is that Winston was the true mastermind of the Techslaver. Evelyn was only brought in to control the tech and be the scapegoat so that, unlike Syndrome, one of the siblings could play innocent so that their company and personal assets didn't all get frozen if they were caught. One of them had to play dumb for the sake of dev tech staying open, and the supers still trusting a person with questionable motives. So when Elastigirl put the pieces together and figured out that the pizza guy was just a pizza guy, Evelyn was supposed to start playing up the villain role because that was their plan B. Like Violet said, she's rich, so she'll probably only get a slap on the wrist. And Winston certainly didn't say anything about trying to advocate to keep her in jail, did he? Because they're in it together designing supervillains. Plus, nobody should know that Gazerbeam is dead yet. He's just missing unless Mr. Incredible has released this information to the public, which we have no indication that that was done before the Underminer attack. And Winston implies he had been working with Simon J. Palladino, aka Gazerbeam, to overturn anti-hero laws before he ran into the Incredibles. Yet Winston makes no reference to Simon vanishing in the middle of their legal battles. Weird, isn't it? Okay, I hear you, but why go to that trouble? What is the benefit to dev tech to get supers back in action? That's debatable, but there are a ton of options. Maybe they own a construction company that would highly profit when a superhero knocks down a building. Maybe they were making reality shows with the suit cams and that would rake in big bucks. The company might even have the rights to produce exclusive superhero toys and such that would lead to a healthy profit too. Or they could have more unsellable tech that would make for riveting supervillains, and the resulting mass hysteria from the public could lead to them buying unnamed dev tech products to individually protect themselves. Worried a villain might strike at any time when Mr. Incredible's not around? Well, here, buy a Violet Bubble technology belt. I mean, maybe, who knows? But the bottom line here is that no business person does something for nothing. So to legally fight for supers and to fully insure them for no reason, plus give them a paycheck and a house, there's a payoff in there somewhere, and it's not to the honor of a dead father. And I would say that dev tech has been doing this for years. Supers don't just put a direct phone line to them in your personal home for no reason. They aren't your on-call security service. So there is definitely this whole mysterious layer of the plot that is yet to be explored. Incredibles 3, maybe? It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have 2 other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, "Hey, I made it to the end." And then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.